Hello. It is showtime, apparently. And in fact, welcome to the weekend in my house. I'm trying to have a normal weekend and chill. No, I am not made for any studio. If you come here for studio productions, I apologize. You would only be disappointed. Let's go. I want to talk about Oracy assistive technology. I think majority of you are familiar with my story. This one is 100% only available on the YouTube channel. I don't normally come live on YouTube, so let me alert the usual suspects that I am only live on YouTube. And if they want to come, they have to come join us here. So bear with me. I will notify those on the Facebook groups and pages, and then we will get started. I want to talk an extension on what I've done before, but I would love a couple of people I know would appreciate this to be here, so do bear with me. I am just, oh, hi, there's somebody. Hi, good to see you. You're welcome. I was not expecting to see anybody here yet. And I am me pacho whiny. Oh, so ka hello na mi hunu ni pakra we. Yenka tree and I yenka brofo. Dear hine bema wo hwato. Oh mama sotia. That's exactly what I would do because you are here. Ma hunu se nipa waba so ba me hunu within nti mesere wara. You hwedi da hwedi na me hunu ni pakro. Me free Facebook for no. I am live on YouTube. And this is exclusive to YouTube. Please join via this link to join, to access. Mechamu, oh, PST blessed. Joanna, it's saying hi. I hope so here. Akwaba. And then maybe someone my basso no pese a tree and I'm a cabrofo. Mo pese a tree at Mama Masonte. If you are not tree speakers and you prefer in English and so let me know. And then I am quite happy to accommodate Mudia here, Upebia, and share any problem, mammy. So let me know. Osiama, brofo ne yebeta, ya cabrofo. English, please. Okay, we can speak English for sure. Right, so this morning I started working on special education needs. It's something I talk about. It's something I hate to discuss, but can't help but to discuss. As a teacher, special education is one of the things I do not want anybody to tag me to. I am a hardcore classic academic physics teacher. I don't do special ed. But the fortunate thing or unfortunate thing is that I have walked a journey. And because I've walked a journey, it's brought me to this area. So for majority of you, it was my son's 16th on the 17th. Sounds very appropriate. It was your 16th on the 17th. I know. I knew you'd appreciate it. There we go. So it was his 16th on the 17th. And on the 17th, obviously, in celebrating his 16th, I was telling you a victory story. Victory. Hi. Hello, Ajwa. It's good to see you. Nana, come join me for 2 seconds. I know I'm disturbing you. But come join me 2 seconds on the live and then go get your work done. You want to come and join? Come join. Why not? I'm just talking to parents. So this is my Nana. Bigger and better than me. Oh, my God. Unbelievable. Now, this young man and I, we are very close for many, many reasons. I love him. And he tells me he loves me more. And what do I always say? So I say I love you. What do you say?
I love you more.
And what do I always say?
Man, it's not possible.
I always tell you it's not possible. It cannot be possible. I love him to bits. He says he loves me more. Not possible. So maybe we love each other equally. Can you just come to that agreement? We love each other equally. The reason why we love each other equally is one of the things I wanted to share with you in this journey. We've been through an awful lot. We've walked a long, long, long journey. But it's a victor story, isn't it? It's a victory story. Come, what makes it a victory story? And come tell us, what makes your story a victor story?
Well, things worked out in the end.
It did?
Yeah, better than predicted.
Better than predicted? Were you predicted anything?
Yeah.
Right. Tell me some of those predictions, though. The most ridiculous of the predictions you remember.
I think they tried to like diagnose me with autism or something. And
They did try to diagnose with autism. We actually did it. They didn't try to diagnose. We actually did go through the full assessment. We did. And it came out inconclusive. I was telling people some of the reasons and some of the things that brought that test inconclusive. Do you know why that test was inconclusive?
I think, unlike a certain somebody, I didn't start talking really early.
You didn't start talking really early, but we are looking at how your autism assessment came out inconclusive and you could not be diagnosed. Do you know what it was?
No.
Right. So today I want to share some of the truths from your childhood you might remember, but might not have understood. Do you remember the Lego boxes?
Yeah.
What do you remember of the Lego boxes? How many of those Lego pieces did you have?
A lot.
You had a lot of Lego pieces. Did you ever think why you had so many Lego pieces?
No.
Right. Do you remember the bricks?
Duplo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the colored ones, the different colored wooden ones, there were lots of plastic ones, there were big ones, small ones.
Yeah.
We had a specific type of toys for your childhood. Did you ever think why you had those toys?
No.
You never?
Just
Okay.
like building stuff, maybe?
Building stuff and going through stuff, yeah. Did you ever wonder why that's the routine we built? And we were building stuff all the time. We were chatting alongside the building. There were specific things that we were building. Did you notice?
No.
We stacked them into pyramids and then we stacked them high to different heights. You don't remember?
No.
Oh, good. So I have a confession to make to this young man that I've never told him this before. All he would remember as a kid is that we bought a lot of Lego. And my good God, we bought a lot of Lego. We had a lot of bricks and we had a lot of specific toys because those were the toys that people used to assess you.
Huh.
Exactly. Those are the toys, those are the tools that people use to evaluate your development and see whether you are growing normally or you were delayed. Lego, believe it or not. Actually, it was the blocks and the bricks first. And then I learned the trick with the Lego. And so we bought the Lego. So you could play with the Lego in specific ways. So when you went for your assessments, you were familiar with the tools that were going to evaluate you with. I mean, thinking back, how many of your friends actually had that much Lego?
Don't know. We never really discussed like who had more Lego.
Who had more Lego? But yeah, when you think about it, it's centered around Lego and specific things. The smart cycle, the things that were on the smart cycle were also not the normal usual games. Did you pick them up?
No.
Wow.
So like, what, you're going to start telling me Thomas the Tank Engine was a test now?
No, Thomas the Tank Engine was your original toys.
Wow.
So those were the original toys that I bought. Those were interest-based toys. Now I'm just telling Nana a story and I'm sharing it with the parents. You are here, you can hear us.
Mum's
I am confessing.
Can you please tell me what you said?
I was just asking Nana, why do you also remember the Lego pieces in the house?
Me?
Yeah.
The big ones?
The big ones, the small ones, the different ones.
I remember we built houses.
We built houses with the Lego. Yes. What else do you remember?
With the Lego?
With the toys in the house.
We played with them.
You did play, but again, the toys were quite skewed. So the smart cycle was actually a literacy tool. When you started the smart cycle and you started cycling the games, it told you things to do, it congratulated you. The person was always talking because all those tools were Oracy Assistive Tech.
Was it for him?
It was for both of you.
But I was good at speaking.
You were both at speaking, you're good at speaking, but you could extend your speech. So yeah, the smart cycle and the things we chose for the smart cycle were sentence construction games. Do you remember Bookworm?
Yeah, that was fun.
You do remember Bookworm.
I actually got so far.
You got so far
Because,
with
like,
Bookworm.
There were like I got all the way to like the underworld, and then from there I can't find the save file.
I know. I think we should go back and revisit some of those tools. Yes, Sissy.
I wasn't so good at it because I'm not good at new vocabulary. I just use the basic ones.
Well, we need to do a
Oh,
little
no.
bit more
Because
work.
it's like Scrabble, but if you use certain letters, certain things, you
Again.
can get a lot more points. I used to like absolutely decimate them.
We bought Scrabble. And we played Scrabble. Do you remember Scrabble?
Yeah, I know what it is.
You do remember the Scrabble games?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Monopoly was the other one.
Monopoly is a test now.
Those board games and everything else, yes. I have a confession to make.
How was
Now.
Monopoly a board?
You know, I prefer the one with the cash to the one with the credit card.
Yeah.
I like cash.
Monopoly is a good assistive tech for Oracy because you interact when you play. So you notice in our house, there were lots of board games, different types. Family Fortune, we did a lot of crazy, stupid things. The idea, it's called immersive environments for Oracy. So we had to be talking a lot so that you would hear a lot of talking and it would stimulate you to do a lot of talking. And now when you talk too much, I want to kill myself because I've created that problem.
Okay, she talks a lot more than I do.
Yeah, I have created that problem, but that's a problem I am so happy to have. So happy to have. Anyway, so if you've walked into this session, I'm actually having a conversation with a young man. This is Nana. If you ever hear me talk about our journey with systems in England and struggling with speech and rising above predictions and overachieving, this is us and this is our story. I'm hoping that our story will help some of you, especially those of you who are walking through the journey. I wonder if, Nana,
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. Somebody has a child diagnosed similar to the diagnosis you had. What do you think we should tell the person? What's the best thing? Can you sit up so they can see you? Yeah. What's the best advice we could share with the person to help them out?
Perhaps just don't lose hope no matter what they diagnose you with, because there's still a chance that they're wrong. No matter
Right.
what it
Now,
is.
that's the most important thing. Don't lose hope because there is still a chance that they are wrong. What makes you say that?
Well, I don't really feel like I have any learning deficits or any of those things which they diagnosed me with. So,
Do you remember the diagnosis?
No. I remember you gave me one of the dogs. You were really angry with it. I was like a little miffed, but
Well, see, you were watching it in retrospect. So that's the difference. When you read it, you had already overcome, right?
Yeah.
When I lived it, you hadn't overcome yet. So yeah, when I was angry and I was frustrated, it was a reality at the time. You were watching it in retrospect. So the way you felt about it would definitely be different from the way I felt because of the time. But do you remember some of the things that they actually did say?
actually, no.
Good. I'm relieved. So when he turned 12, he had bugged me for years. He wants to see, he wants to read, he wants to know. So when he turned 12, as part of the deal, I gave him one of the nicest of the documents. The rest of them, I've shredded so many of them. Majority of them I never want to see again. So I don't even have them to share with you, and there is no need for you to see them. Absolutely no need to see them. But I selected one, he read it. And yeah, at the time, I would let him read it because the story was done. By that time, we had left that journey. What have you done to your face? What's your problem?
Just trying to just imagine.
Do you even know how to look smiley and beautiful? Try it. You're a gorgeous girl. All you need to do is just smile a little bit. When the dimple comes out, everything is fine. We can forgive all your sins when you smile. And stick your lip in. Go put on some shea butter and let me continue with my life.
Upstairs is being cleaned.
It'll be fine. Go.
Mommy told me to say
I said it. I've changed my mind. Yalla. Can't go. Go put shea butter on. Well, what we live with. This is. You should have just sat on it when you had a chance. If I had a chance, I'd go straight for it. Right. somebody asked me to speak English, so I'm sticking to English. If you come in here, I am actually setting the scene for a conversation. See that young man over there? No. He was not supposed to speak, apparently.
That's a lie.
That was a hopeless lie. He would never speak, we were told. He had profound, not ordinary, not moderate, not serious, profound learning difficulties. Apparently, impossible to teach, nearly. Well, clearly ridiculous, isn't it? But yeah, they had a whole list of things he couldn't do. And what he says is probably the most important message of hope, actually. Don't give up, regardless of what people say to you. Don't worry too much sometimes about the diagnosis and prognosis, because those are only predictions. Only predictions, what people think, what people see at a time. There is always hope to override it. There is always hope to become better. And that's what I want to talk to you about. I want to talk to you about taking on a negative and actually realizing that the negative is an opportunity to excel, to be better. Let me explain. So this young man was not supposed to do this, was not supposed to do that, but I knew that every child has specific gifts. And I looked at my son and I saw his specific gifts. Maybe one of the reasons why it was easy for me to see is also because I am a teacher. I'm a professional in that area. And obviously, teacher training comes in handy over here. But I picked up a few things about my son. My son, he's very similar to me. He has niche interests. And he was talking to you about Thomas the Tank Engine. Thomas the Tank Engine and the tank engines and the train tracks. I don't know if he remembers the train tracks. Those ones were interest-based. The rest of his toys were therapy-based. Now, I knew he liked trains, he liked toys, he likes building stuff. He can zoom into things. And so I had to take that zoom and take it from just tank engines and zoom into literacy. Zoom into literacy so we can know the words and we can write the words even if we couldn't speak clearly. So we got the Smart Cycle. The Smart Cycle was an immersive environment. They were children. They thought they were cycling. No, they were not cycling. It was connected to the television. I mean, these days, nobody will buy that stupid contraption anymore. But at the time, it was transformatory. And in fact, I'm glad that was the era in which we were, because I could also combine physical exercise with the Smart Cycle. Kids who are autistic, they have gut problems. And if you don't manage the gut problems, it was never diagnosed, so he's not autistic. But kids who have those associations to, I'm one of those, gut problems, I live with them. So exercise was important to me. I wanted them to be able to exercise so they don't become overweight. So again, maybe we overdid it. Madame is too skinny. I was talking about the Smart Cycle and the exercise-based games we did to try. You have a story. Come, what's your story?
Remember when you tried getting me to read?
Yes. I remember trying to get you to do many things and failing miserably, only for you to turn around and do it when you were ready, good and ready. You are the most irritating child I've ever raised. Did you know that? Of all my daughters, you are the most irritating. You hold the record for the daughters. He holds the record for the sons. I love you the most. Eh? You are my favorite son and the most irritating son I have ever raised.
Because it's only just me.
And she is my favorite daughter.
But mommy, when you tell me to do stuff, it seems like a chore. I don't want to do it.
Well, life is like that, though.
But mommy, I want.
In this life is a chore. Get this in your skull.
Mommy.
Life is a chore.
But you're also the same person who said, then don't treat it like a chore.
Yeah. I've told you life is a chore, so get over it. That's the norm.
Mom.
When you do the chore, it is the norm.
I don't think you want me to live life just yet.
This kid says she's very independent, Nanaya.
Wait, no, I said.
Bring my water, go
That's
fetch your
not
own.
for you.
Bring my water. I need to drink 2 of that today.
Ah, okay.
It's okay. No, don't pour for you. Just pour for me.
But that's just a lot of water to just have there without a lid.
Well, see, that was the problem. You should have put a lid on. Then everybody would know it's mine. Those of you who are familiar with me and my format for videos, this will not surprise you at all. This is the real life of Amma Manson. I do have 2 children. They get into my videos sometimes and want to be involved. And sometimes Madame wants to be a baby and pretend she's 2. She's actually almost 15. And she'd be a big girl and not be behaving like a baby. But yeah, it happens that sometimes Madame is like a baby and she sits here on my shoulder. Sometimes they butt into the conversation they do. This is our interaction. The video happens around the interaction, so you have to bear that in mind and you have to be mindful and accepting of that to be here. Anyway, welcome. We are talking about assistive tech. The first assistive tech I want to talk to you about, especially those of you with children under 10 who are not speaking well, who are not articulating, who have speech delays, who have learning difficulties, who are falling behind in school. I want to introduce you to the life-transforming toy called Lego. Lego and the research behind Lego. I suggest you go to Google Scholar, spend just half an hour and find the research behind Lego and developmental milestones. Go have a look at the children's developmental milestones. The NHS had a document called the first 1001 days of a child. It tells you about the developmental milestones there. You can look at child psychology textbooks. You will find them. But the Lego is one of the most important things you can possibly buy. Bricks, Lego, things, Jenga, things that you arrange. It allows children to see logic in your arrangement. Logical reasoning can be taught with Lego and with blocks and with stupid toys, unassuming toys that you might not think of. Building the walls, constructing pyramids, these things are things children should be able to do. It teaches your child hand-eye coordination. It does? Hand-eye coordination, absolutely. Hand-eye coordination, again, in the early stages is a very important thing. It stimulates your brain and it evidences the fact that your brain is actually developing according to your age. So there are certain ages that you should be able to stack blocks to about 3 without them dropping. There are certain ages where you should be able to do up to 10 in a pile. And then at first they stack them in one single file and then they realize, well, that doesn't breed stability. You are teaching the children about center of mass and about stability and balance. So they begin to build the pyramids and the pyramids are stable. Some of them begin to extend and begin to stick things on the outs and build a wall out of it. If you don't have those tools in your house and you have the more expensive tools in your house, well, maybe those expensive tools might be interest-based ones, but for older children, it becomes a comfort blanket. It's a comfort blanket. It's something which reminds them of mundane things that they did in their childhood. They are things that remind them of happy places, especially when kids get to teenage and they get to Madame's age, where she thinks the world is such a negative place, the world is such a terrible place, life is so difficult, blah, blah. What are you messing about on my phone for? Who told you you could use my phone and message your boyfriend?
My dad.
Isn't that your boyfriend? Is there another boyfriend I should be knowing about? I'd have killed you on the spot.
No, you wouldn't.
He knows it's you, so he's chatting to you. Yeah. Older children, it's socialization. So now if we sit down to play the board games, my intention is not the same when they were younger. Right now, we play the board games to build rapport. We play the board games just to chill. If we play them, it is not with the same intentions. Yeah, older children can still use the same tools to build rapport and to get an opportunity for them to talk to you and that kind of thing. But for younger kids, I recommend a few things. Don't take my word for it. Go and read about the research and you select the tools you want. There are some that are cheap. There are some that are not so cheap. If I were to recommend a literacy tool that will transform a lot of things for you. There are about 3 things, and I want us to vote on which one is the family favorite. Nanaya, there was bookworm, there is letter soup, and 94 seconds.
94 seconds.
So 94 seconds straight out she came with. Why 94 seconds?
It's fun.
What makes it fun?
Because I get stressed.
You get stressed, and the stress is fun. Aren't you a weird kid? So 94 seconds, explain the basics of the game for me.
Okay. So basically, the 5 categories, which
People lip read, so remove your hand so people can lip read.
I want people to lip read.
You know people like me lip read.
No.
Okay, go on, talk to us.
Basically, there are 5 categories.
5 categories of what?
If you have enough coins, you can change the categories, and they say that the timer starts. It says, "Give me a fruit with a letter, like say beginning with H." Then you type it down, and then depending on how creative the word is, but it has to be real, you get more points. And then by the end of it, you get points, and then you earn coins. And if you want to see what answers they were looking for, I guess, then you have to watch an ad.
Well, see, that's what you remember. What I remember, and my purpose is that every single round of 94 seconds, you learned at least 2 new words. There were always at least 2 words you were not familiar with. Did you notice that? Yeah, you didn't pay attention to that. That's what I was looking at, and that's the reason why I wanted to.
Remember the fish game?
Yeah, that is a favorite too. Yeah, the fish game is a good one. My personal favorite, really, from a player point of view, is letter soup. I find that game so frustrating. I find it so annoying. But it's very good because, again, in the frustration, in the annoyance is your zone of proximal learning. Have a look at theories of learning. You'd understand in your discomfort is where more learning happens. So again, letter soup creates a lot of discomfort. And because letter soup creates a lot of discomfort, you do learn a lot of new words from letter soup. You construct things, you make connections. They give you a big sequence of words, and you have to find the individual words you can form from there. The longer the word is, the more complicated the word is, the more points you get, and so on. But Nanaya's favorite is bookworm, right?
Yeah.
Come explain bookworm.
So I think for bookworm,
Mm-hmm.
one of the things I like about it is you've got to look at the available letters and decide how you're going to make the word. So there's a lot more creative freedom in which word you choose.
And that's the word, creative freedom.
Depending on the complexity of the word you've made, you can do more damage and thus receive more points from it as well.
Okay.
And then there's like advancements where there are like mini bosses you have to go past as well. Some of which might have to attack you as well. But like you do have some time to think about the perfect word to hit them back so that you may overcome them without them overcoming you first as well. Not to mention there are a lot of other mini games all centered around the same concept. And there's like a lot of even different styles of battles as well.
It's interesting. And again, I have another confession. So when we started playing Bookworm and the rest of them, it introduced me to the concept of gamification in learning. So Bookworm is a gamified literacy strategy. And when you play Bookworm, you see the gameplay interface, isn't it? You have the rewards, you have the opponent you have to overcome, you have the timer, you have all those things, and you learn a lot of new words from, it's letter soup. Letter soup. It's difficult, blessed for me to say with assessments for older kids, because when we went through assessments, he was not above 10. And I've only ever seen very young kids go through assessments for autism. So I don't know if they assess in the same way. I do not want to misguide you. I don't want to mislead you. I don't know. I don't know. I will ask around. People I know have gone through it at an older age. There's a sister of mine on Facebook who has just gone through something similar with a teenager. So I will ask. What I hear, I will put in a video and I'll put it on my network for you. Right. So we've mentioned letter soup. We've mentioned 94 seconds. We've mentioned, what was the other one? Bookworm. Those are all literacy-based ones. Now, my kids, again, for majority of their very young childhood, had a Nintendo DS.
Oh, yeah, okay. Definitely, if anything was supposed to be tested as well.
Eh?
That brain thing, it's obvious that was.
Now it's obvious, isn't it? The sort of games you had. Now that I've made that confession.
The eye trainer thing is what.
The eye trainer, the mind trainer.
I know those I definitely picked up on this.
You did?
Yeah.
Right, because for a long time on your DS, there were not actually games. They were all these things, but to you, they seemed like games. To me, we were learning and working through a process. The Nintendo DS, I don't know what new games have come. Again, I am a dinosaur. Don't ask me about new ones. My daughter was trying to tell me to go and buy a Switch.
Switch.
Leave me alone. Something H.
Why do teachers keep calling it a Twitch? It's not
Another teacher called it a Twitch. Yay! I'm normal.
I think it's a teacher thing.
It's a teacher thing. So now there is a Twitch. Okay, a Switch. Right. What's the difference between a Switch and a DS?
a Switch.
She knows how to eloquently articulate a convincing argument for me to buy a Twitch. And her excuse is, wow, I am so convinced right now to buy you a Twitch.
Switch. A Switch?
Yeah.
It costs 1,000.
So that's 200 quid you want me to pay.
It's not that expensive.
Right. Have you earned 200 quid before?
I've earned 60.
You've been gifted 60. You never earned it. Gifted and earning are not the same. Okay, keep going. So this Switch, is it similar to a DS?
It's both from Nintendo, so yeah.
Well, I mean, the fact that he had a Nintendo, there was a Nintendo Wii, and it had nothing to do with a DS. So I don't know.
No, the Wii is pretty similar because you have similar games on it. You can play Mario Kart. Also,
now that's another thing I want to redo. I don't know if the Nintendo Wii is still on the market or they've got something similar to it. I definitely want to go back and do Just Dance and do those activities again.
I remember we used to have Just Dance in the Wii. I'm not too sure what
I
happened to that.
remember in our class,
they are here.
In our class earlier in the week, we were reminiscing about old Nintendo stuff. Like
Old Nintendo stuff.
Yeah.
I know the Kinect is at least,
Yeah, but we don't have the controller.
it's there.
Technically, we were the controller.
Yeah, I know, but you need the controller. To
The
turn
nunchuck.
on The thing.
No, the nunchuck was a Wii thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, she's talking about like you needed to update the Xbox before it would let you do anything or anything like this, which is why she's mentioning the controller.
Okay. Yeah. For a while, a lot of these tools have gone because they are GCSE kids. Exams are now my focus, getting the grades in. And in the summer, when Nana is done with his exams, I've promised him that he can build his own gamer's laptop. You wanted a computer or did you want a laptop?
Computer, laptops are harder to go.
Okay, so a gamer's computer. All these things are all assistive. These things are all access creation. These things are all relaxation tools sometimes, but there's always a hidden agenda with extending abilities and fostering interests. That's one of the things you need to learn with your kids when you're going through assessment or you're trying to get them to overcome the language barrier. You are trying to help them become oral. You want to help your kids learn and speak and do articulation effectively. One of the best things to do is to teach your kids a wide diction. And the tools I've shared are all things that could support the creation of diction. So sometimes when Nana speaks, people are like, oh, his choice of words, not like a typical teenager. I'm like, yeah, because of some of these things that we've played with in the past, some of the things that we've intervened with in the past. When you begin to speak and articulate, it's the best way for people to know how intelligent you are and to pick up on your gifts and to go through. I mean, we've just gone from one end of the spectrum and we've gone to the complete opposite end of the spectrum. And people keep asking me, you have to share the real journey. You have to tell us the real tools. Here you are, the real tools. Literacy games. Literacy games, if you can find them, electronic. Literacy games that are electronic and gamified. Gamification. And in fact, because of what I had done with my son and the interest with gamification, my doctorate is actually in gamification of assessments. I've come to know how life transformational gamified tools can be. And that's what I'm actually researching for my doctorate. How ironic. What was my adversity, my greatest adversity, has turned around into a career-changing development too. It's transformed a lot of things about me personally, including my career direction as well. And I'm hoping that those of you with younger kids, those of you who are here may have picked up some of the names. I hold my hand up. I am not the most updated. As you can see, the younger of the two is turning 15 this year. So some of the things that I did for age appropriate things are no longer relevant because the games and the tools, they change all the time. I'm sure if you told kids about a Nintendo DS, what was the first one before the 360? Yours was a 360, the black one.
Nintendo 3DS.
3DS. What did I say? 360. Yeah, 3DS. Nana, what was yours?
DS Lite.
DS Lite. If you tell kids right now about DS Lite, I'm sure they will laugh their head off because it's well over a decade and a half old. It's out of sync. There must be new replacements. But if you go to Google and you search for Nintendo DS alternative, you will see the new ones. Nintendo Wii alternatives, you will find them. The portable ones are better because you can have them on the go. Anytime you have spare time, you can keep it with you and give it to kids in the car. The choice of games is where the key thing is. It's not the fact that you bought a DS. It's the kind of games you give them for the DS. Yes, they can play nonsense games on the DS. And they can also play useful games on the DS. All right? So I wanted to talk to you about those tools, the gamified tools. There is numeracy. Nana,
Yes,
can you think of anything that we did that was specifically there for numeracy?
There was that one. I don't remember what it's called. Like, I'm trying to remember what it's called, but I do remember.
Describe it.
So it was this thing we had. It was first not like brain training, but we would test your literacy and numeracy. It was the mascot was like some orange fox-looking thing.
Absolutely.
I forgot what the name's called, but if I want, I could check.
Right.
I'm pretty sure I still have it.
Okay. Do you remember the mat?
The button?
There was a mat. I used to put it on the floor in the living room and we will hop. It was a hopscotch mat.
Yeah, I do.
Wow. That mat was the center of numeracy in the house. Not so much for Nana. The other person who also needed numeracy intervention was El Madame and the multiplication tables. Oh my God. Do you remember the things we did for the timetable? Tell us about it. What were they?
I'm being timed.
Oh, so she's gone on letter soup. There's still letter soup on my phone. Unbelievable. Right, talk to us.
So basically there were these wristbands with my multiplications on it.
Oh, yes, we
I
had
remember you
numeracy.
would make, whenever we would go traveling, you'd force me to wear them.
To wear them. And when she wears them, she will twirl them around.
Magic trick.
Well, I don't know. I think we will start doing magic, but my goodness, what kind of magic talent is this? Okay. Yeah, we would do the wristbands. The wristbands, they were always there. And the idea is that you created immersion by having it on you all the time. So she would play with it, she would touch it, she would see the patterns. Do you think it was effective? What was the most effective thing in teaching you the multiplication table? You don't remember?
I think just forcing me.
Forcing you to write them. You remember the books, the dry, clean, wipe books? Yeah, goodness.
You'd make me write them and then you would test me.
Yes, and then we'll wipe them and start again. And then we would do it again. And then we would do it again, repeatedly.
Hated it.
Well, right now that you know the timetable.
But Mom, we have calculators. They allow us to have calculators in our maths GCSEs, so it's fine.
We have calculators.
Yes. they give us they allow us. The only exam I'm not allowed the calculator in is computer science.
Right. It's the same thing people used to say. You can type now. You don't need to write. You don't need to learn how to hold a pen. You still do need those skills because you do write.
I write anyways. Most people are just, because my iPad dies quite quickly. So I'm just like, I could just let it travel and just write.
Why does it die quickly?
I don't know.
It never died quickly when I had it.
Because you're not on it for 6 hours in a row.
Who says? I was on it all the time. Anyway, I am hoping that those of you who are here, you've heard a few things that you can use. I have given a few names, but what I recommend that you go to Google and you search for Oracy Assistive Technology. Oracy Assistive Technology. Let me type it for you. Oracy Assistive Technology. Oracy Assistive Technology Tools. Look it up. I suggest, if you have time, that you go to Google Scholar and you look for Oracy Assistive Technology and just read the research. Reading the research is very important because it explains the reasoning behind the tools you've seen. And sometimes it prepares your mind for what is better so that you are always on the lookout for better things. You find a tool, you start using the tool. After 6 months, you look and see if there's been an update, because there probably would have been an update. It's a very fast-paced area of research. New things come up all the time. You can ask your kids' class teachers, but not all of them are also that interested in this niche area. And they might not be able to tell you. Even better if you become the expert, and then you can recommend to school, hey, such a tool works well with such a thing. Can you get it in the school directory so he can use it in school? Oh, such a thing helps him with his spellings. Can we have a look? There is Sentence Maker. You have Spelling Academy. You have all sorts of apps in the App Store now that you can use to help yourself. But for you as a parent, one of the most important things for you to do is for you to either go and sit on YouTube and watch the videos if you are a YouTube video watching person. But if you are academic oriented, it is better that you get into the articles themselves because you get more details from the research articles, especially the ones which are peer reviewed. So you can see what their peers are saying, what the counter arguments are, where the research is heading towards, so you know what to look out for later. It is a great journey to be on. It is a journey of opportunity. I know when you first come across a child who is not behaving and learning like the rest of them, we all think problem child. Absolutely not. That's your opportunity child. It is your opportunity to turn things around and look amazing. It is an opportunity for you to learn and become an expert in an area. And when you become an expert in an area, you can actually use that knowledge to make money if you want. You can build a career change. I was already a teacher, but my direction has definitely shifted into technology, and it's gone into assistive tech, into gamification because of the journey we've gone. Yes, the Oracy assistive. So literacy has 3 components. There is the speaking. Oracy is about speaking. And then there is the reading and comprehension. And then there is the writing. And they are all interlinked. Funnily enough, based on the research, have a look. The research says that if you want to improve literacy, The first thing to do, the most effective thing to do, the one which has the highest impact, is developing the ability to speak, oracy. Because the ability to speak is about how the brain is constructed. You will have to develop the brain to be able to speak. In order to be able to speak, you have to know the words. So you have to be able to read. And if you do the written work alongside, you've got a well-rounded literate person. Absolutely. Oracy is where most of the research is focusing now. When did I do my master's? My master's was actually in Oracy in the classroom. Funnily enough, now that I'm actually thinking back at some of these things, my career has been so influenced by the journey we've been on in ways I hadn't even thought about. My master's was Oracy in science. That's what I wanted to look into. And if you've ever heard me talk about the kind of grades that I get for kids and the fact that the kids in my classes tend to make accelerated progress, it comes from the fact that I was aware of Oracy and the importance of Oracy and how life transformational it can be. There is a program called Learning Through Talk. Go check it out. Learning Through Talk is amazing. Oh, Mr. G. Yeah, this is a messy time. Remember, those of you who are my loved ones and you don't see much of me, I tried to warn you before. 2021, I am writing my doctoral research. I am writing my thesis. And I'm working full-time in a middle management role. I am still mom to 2 teenagers and trying to run a business and run away from poverty. It is a mess. So it's very difficult for me to keep in touch with everybody. Pray for me. Love me. I will touch base every now and again. Forgive me if that touch base is not regular. That's the reality of this year. But fingers crossed, by the end of this year, God willing, if I'm able to focus and I don't get deviated, I would be able to submit and graduate. I would be so happy if I could congregate this year. That would be amazing. Blessed, it's an absolute pleasure. I am so glad some of you are here. I do pray that some of you are not even parents yet who come across this video so that it will prepare you before the journey starts. Whether you have special needs kids or not, Oracy is important. I will have a session specifically on reading strategies that help you to develop Oracy. I've talked about the Oxford Treetop series many times before. I'll do a separate session on that. Yeah, Henry, if you could write for me, if you could help me, it would have been amazing. But unfortunately, this is one of those things that a person has to set on their butt and do on their own. My pleasure. Yes, fingers crossed. If I could finish in 2021, oh, I would be so relieved. So pray for me, cheer me on, ask me about it, champion me on, as a lot of you do. I really do appreciate it. And yes, if you find that my contact is sporadic, that's the reason for it. My videos themselves are predominantly pre-recorded these days. I do the live ones like this every now and again, but it's not frequent. I just cannot commit to doing this frequently. Anyway, let me love you, let me leave you. I promised a couple of people that I'll be on here and I'll do this video. I'll share some tools and some names and some strategies. So hopefully in the conversation, you found something useful to apply. If you want to consult me, you can book a session. But please don't ask me to have a conversation with you for an hour. I can't do that. There are 5 of you right now. If all of you asked me for an hour each, only an hour, that's 5 hours. Where would I find 5 hours to do that? And why are you back in your masquerade? Where are you off to?
I don't know. I just
You just decided.
Yeah. There's one thing I may need to ask you for.
What do you need?
It's just like a symbol. I just need to know what it means because it's one of those Greek ones. So
A symbol, a science symbol.
yeah, this one. Is that delta?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's easy. That's a very easy one to
I
do.
thought delta was a triangle.
It can be, but the Greek alphabet itself is this.
So then what is a triangle?
Change. Oh, I'm glad it was useful. I am so glad it was useful. Thank you so much for watching. I do hope please share it for me. If you know any parent who has a special needs kid, share it with them. If you know anybody who is pregnant and might become a parent, or somebody who's recently married and might become a parent anytime soon, share it with them. Those are actually the people I want to hit. I want to catch those people. I want to get information in their hands. I want to skill them up before they ever need the information, because the truth is, some people will need information. Not all children will walk through the usual path. Children learn differently. Even if your child is seemingly normal, some of these strategies could be really... Henry, you are pregnant. Okay, then this this information is very useful to you. Look, in this day and age, anything can happen. All right. Henry is pregnant. If he says he's pregnant, I'm happy he is pregnant. What? Stop asking me questions. I don't know. These days, I don't ask unnecessary questions. If a person says they are pregnant, they are definitely pregnant in my book, and we keep it rolling. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sharing. And I shall see you guys very soon, I do hope. Bye. Share the video for me and tell people where to find it. This is exclusively on YouTube, not available on Facebook. So tell the usual gang it's right here on YouTube, not on Facebook. They can come here and they can watch it. Catch you later.